Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel KBS Technocraft. Today we are going to understand what are the SpecFlow tags, how to implement tagging and filtering, leveraging tags for optimization. Before we move, let's understand what are the SpecFlow tags. So SpecFlow tags by definition are markers used to categorize and organize scenarios, allowing for targeted test execution and improved test management. They serve as a metadata that can be applied at a feature or scenario level, providing a flexibility means a classification. So for example, let's say consider you are having 100 test cases, right? And you want to run a certain test cases every time when the applications deployed. So let's say consider you want to give that set of test case as a smoke test case. So what we can do, we can define a tag name as a smoke, and we can decorate all the features, all the scenarios as a smoke. So those all test cases will be executed when we consider a smoke tag and run it. You will able to understand more detail when I'm going to create a multiple test cases, and I will show you how to use that tagging. Uses in test execution. Tags enable selective test execution by filtering scenario based or specific category, right? So as I mentioned, you can group it regression test, you can group as a smoke test. Also, you can create a tag for the test cases which you want to run in pipeline. For example, you might be required to run a certain test cases or a selected test cases into the pipeline. In that case, you can create a tag called pipeline test cases, and that you can run it by using that tag name. So at high level, the tags are a logical grouping of your test cases. Okay, so let's how do you leverage tags for test reporting? So what happens when you use these tags, right? It enhance the test result analysis. How does it do? Tags enable targeted filtering of the test result, allowing the focused analysis of a specific category of scenarios and facilitate the extraction of actionable insight the quality improvement. Customized test report. For example, if you want to run only smoke test case and you want to generate that report for only the smoke test cases. So based on the tag, you can generate the report or group all the test cases report into that particular report for smoke test cases. Now let's understand the next section where we are going to understand how do you implement tagging and filtering. So basically, tagging, whenever you are writing a SpecFlow feature, inside the feature you are going to write a scenarios. You can tag that particular scenarios or that particular feature file by any given tags. Okay, so what we will do, we will create some feature file with some scenarios, and we will see how we can tag it, and then we will go into the final section where we will understand about the leveraging tag for optimizations. Open Visual Studio and create a project. So I will type Visual Studio 2022 and I will open Visual Studio 2022, and then I will go create a new project, and then I will select a SpecFlow project template, and then I will click new, and then I will basically give a spec flow tags. I will give this spec flow tags name, and then I will select a folder and create new project, and I will select the test framework as a unit. I will create it. Okay, then if you see this, it will create a by default feature file which is called calculate.feature file. And then what we will do, we will first try to build it and make sure that the solution is building proper. So I will rebuild this. So I can see that project is building, and once it's built successfully, what we can do that. So if you can see this project is building successfully. And if you go test and text explorer, you can see that there is one test which is showing that is SpecFlow, right? This is what it is. So you can see here it's showing SpecFlow tags, right? If you are having some tags, right, it will display here. So let's see that how we can create it. Let's say consider I will create multiple feature files. To do that, I have some test cases. I will paste it here, and then one by one we will go and create it, right? So let's say consider we will create a feature file called user registration. I'm going to create a feature file, add new item, and then I will select a feature file, select a spec flow and then feature file, and then I will give this name as a user registration. I will remove this spaces for time being, right? I created this one. And then whatever the test case I have it here, I will just copy paste there. So like for user registration, I will put that particular test case here, right? So this is what it is, and I will remove this. Okay, so to understand this, so basically this user registration feature file will have all the test cases which are related to user registration. Similar way, I'm going to create multiple. Just give me a couple of minutes and I will be able to create. So let's say consider we are going to create a user login. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create user login feature file. So add new item and then I'm going to create new feature file and then I'm going to give that name here. So I will give bit space. Let's see that. Okay. So you see here, we are having here, and then we will go there and copy that feature file. Okay. So I will put it here, and I will go to user login. I will paste it here. Right. So you have this test cases here, and this test cases here. Similar way, I'm going to add few more feature file. It's called shopping cart functionality. So I'm going to create one more, add new item and feature file, and then I'm going to add it the name called is file and I will create it. Okay, so since I'm giving the name of space in the feature file, you are getting some warning message. Don't worry about that. That does not impact our scenario, whatever we are trying to check it. Okay, and then I will add one more feature file called product search. So I add new and create new item and I will give this feature file name as a project search, product search, right? Okay, and then I'll delete this. Okay, calculator for time being. Okay, so if you try to build it, you will be able to see this build, right? It's built successfully. It's a build. If you see here, it's a build successfully. Now, what we will try to do that we will try to apply the tags, right? So tags are here. Let me add it. So we are having product search and then we are having shopping cart. We are having this like this and the product search is missing. So I will put that for time being product search test cases. Let's remove this product search. We will use only these three. Okay. So now we have all these feature files there. Now what we are going to do that we are going to define a tags. So what I'm going to do that here, I'm going to create a tag called smoke. Smoke is any name you can give it. I'm just giving smoke because I just want to uh, group them as a smoke test by smoke tags. So that's why I have given this. So let me add it couple of, let's say product and login. The product and login I'm just adding to smoke test cases. So I just added it. Now if I build it, If I save all and build it, okay, so you can see here build successfully. And now if you go on text explorer, what you will be able to see that all these feature file are displayed. To see the text, what you have to do that here, you have to just click on right here. uh, in this, what I did it here, there is a square bracket, and once I click it, I will come on this. So if you come here now, if you see here, I have decorated three test cases as a smoke. So if you see, is logically group all those test cases as a smoke, and if I run it, what will happen, all those test cases wherever I have defined a smoke as a tag, those will run. For example, if you see here, one test case, one feature file, and then we have a two feature file, and then there are three feature file. Similar way, I can define a tag on scenario level. So let's say here you can say a scenario level tag. Let's say just something we can define it. So basically, we used to give a lowercase. So let's give it at lowercase. So now if I put this, and I will add one more test case, as we are not going to write the step definition file, that's okay, we can have it. Mm, User, let's say, cannot register without valid detail. Let's say consider this. I just changed it slightly. I did not change the step definition. So now if I go and rebuild it, so what will happen? You will be able to see the this tag will be grouped these two test cases. So let's say go, and if you go on test explorer, and if you see the total count of the scenario tag is 2, is smoke 4, because smoke 4 why? Because if you decorate a tag on the feature level, so all the test cases, which are all the scenarios which are written inside that particular feature file, will be considering that particular tag. Also, this the scenario label tag will be considered only for that scenario. So for example, if I add this scenario label tag to any of the other test cases, so this will now the count will increase. So what will happen here, I will build it, and then if I go to the text explorer, what we can see here that the scenario label tags, there are three test cases, here is a four test cases. So I hope you understand. Let me explain once again. The tag can be defined either at feature level, either at scenario level. If you define a tag on feature level, then it will be considered for all the scenarios located in that particular feature file, right? So all these test cases. And then if you want to decorate a tag for scenario level, then you can put it that tag on scenario level. In that case, a particular feature file can have a different tags, right? For example, here if I put it _1, and if I build it here, right? So if I build it here, right, you will be able to see that same feature file, two test cases are now belong to two different tags, right? So if you see, tag 1 is only one test cases, uh, scenario level tag 2 is two test cases, and then smoke test cases are four, because in one of the feature file we have defined two test cases, and we have defined a smoke tag on top of the feature file. That's why that is considering two test cases under that tags. So the advantage of the having tags is that, let's say, consider sometime what happens, right? During the regular deployment, we might not require to run all the test cases, right? We require sometimes some setup smoke test cases or some selected test cases. So if you define that tag, what will happen? In that case, let's say consider if you define that tag as a smoke, which we do normally, and then if you run it, it will run all the test cases. And other test cases, if you want to run the regression test, you can define a regression tag for all the scenarios and feature files which you want to consider as a regression test. And similarly, the report will be generated based on that. This tag also help us to use this logical grouping name, that is the tag name, by command prompt. We can run those test cases using command prompt as well. So I hope the tagging and the leveraging of the tags are very clear as of now. And if you have any query concern, just try to drop me message. I will try to answer it. Thank you so much for watching my channel. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.